Built as a palace in 1215 by Peder Sundane, Dragsholm is allegedly one of the most haunted castles in Europe. At least 100 ghosts wander its corridors, but there are 3 famous hauntings in Dragsholm Castle: the Earl of Bothwell, a troublesome lord; the White Lady, a desolate girl who was bricked into the wall; and the Grey Lady, a grateful protector. As a fun fact, Dragsholm Castle actually had nobles and high ecclesiastical criminals as prisoners. This dark period happened under the ownership of the crown from 1536 to 1664, after the Protestant Reformation, when Lutheranism spread through Denmark and outcasted the Catholic Church. Many priests and ministers were imprisoned in the castle. The first ghost we'll mention is James Hepburn, 4th Earl of Bothwell, and the 3rd husband of Queen Mary of Scots. James Hepburn was a disruptive Scottish noble. Trouble followed him wherever he went, barely out of one scrape before moving to the next. After fleeing for his life from Scotland in 1567, Hepburn hoped to take refuge somewhere that would be more favorable. Unfortunately, a storm forced the Earl's ship to land in Norway, which was ruled by Denmark at the time, where he was arrested for not having the correct identification papers. A handful of his past misdemeanors caught up with him. More specifically, it was known the English were keen to catch up with him regarding the murder of his current wife's second husband. The Danish king eventually sent the Earl of Bothwell to Dragsholm. He was chained to a pillar and given only enough food and water to keep him alive. In the legend, Hepburn went insane during the 10 years he was locked in Dragsholm Castle. He spent that time pacing around his pillar until when he died in April 1578. He had worn a circular groove in the floor that can still be seen to this day. Even though his body was removed from the castle, his spirit remained behind. The ghost of the Earl is heard rather than seen. People report the sounds of horses' hooves in the courtyard, sometimes accompanied by a fully loaded carriage. Further down the castle's tormented walls is the White Lady. The palace was a prison until Charles X. Gustav of Sweden attempted to blow it to ashes during the Dano-Swedish War from 1658 to 1660. Dragsholm remained in a pile of unwanted walls until it was given by the king to a grocer named Heinrich Müller as payment of a debt. Müller began to restore the castle. However, the barrack style, the look that is known today, was completed by its next owner, Frederick Christian Adeler. Adeler brought Dragsholm in 1694. It remained in the hands of the Adeler family until 1932, when there were no more heirs. The Central Land Board took up the deeds of ownership. A few years later, the castle was bought by J.F. Boger. It remains under the management of the Boger family, even today. The revamp bought many of the ballrooms and saloons styled in the late Romantic aesthetic. It was while repairing the plumbing at some point in the 1930s that the workmen made a bone-chilling discovery. They found female bones in the walls, with a white dress still attached to it. It was long rumored that the ghostly figure of a young maiden dressed in white stalked the castle at night, searching for her forbidding lover. She was the daughter of one of many owners of the castle. It would have been totally unacceptable for a lady of the aristocracy to strike up a relationship with a commoner. However, the young lady fell in love with a man who worked at the castle. Their secret affair was sounded by her father. He went in a terrifying rage, causing him not only to lock his daughter in a prison cell within the tower, but went as far as to brick her up inside the wall. After discovering her bones, the legend is not so much of a tale after all. Last but not least, we end with our third specter. The Grey Lady was a kind maiden who worked at Dragsholm Castle. One day, while at work, A painful toothache took over and spread like wildfire. The master of the castle noticed this and gave her a poultice that cured it. However, not long after the master cured her toothache, the maiden died. However, her grateful spirit lived on. She haunts the corridors of Dragsholm forever, looking to enact good deeds to show the master her gratitude for his.